I am the most sought-after makeup artist in the game. Before each round of the game begins, the bare-faced NPCs all sit in a neat, obedient row, waiting for me to do their makeup. With the boost from my makeup skills, their intimidation factor in front of the players doubles, and their performance ratings skyrocket. Even the big boss came to me by reputation. However, looking at the big boss in front of me with 16 heads and 32 eyes, my mouth twitched slightly. I can do your makeup, but it is going to cost extra. 1 second. I was clutching my makeup case and running toward the film set. The next second, I was pulled into a horror game instance, The Ghost Bride. Before I could figure out what was going on, an angry shout suddenly came from the room ahead.
What? The makeup artist died? Then what about my bridal makeup? Our instance has ranked dead last 3 times in a row. If we don't have proper makeup and styling, our viewership is definitely going to be at the bottom again. The players are about to enter the instance any minute now. Where do you expect me to find another makeup artist?
I was a bit dazed by the first few words, but that last sentence instantly awakened my working-class soul. Drumming up business was my daily routine. I immediately knocked on the door and volunteered myself. Hey beautiful, do you need a makeup artist? I am one. A moment later, the door slowly opened. A delicate-looking, mask-wearing young girl appeared in front of me. So this is an NPC of the horror game. She didn't look intimidating at all. She looked at me with a face full of distrust.
You're a player.
I nodded sincerely. Beautiful. Do you want bridal makeup? I've worked on many weddings. I can definitely make you look gorgeous.
Gorgeous. That word has nothing to do with me.
As she spoke, she took off her mask.
Do I still look gorgeous like this?
I didn't show the slightest panic or disgust, but simply smiled and nodded. You look very beautiful. Every girl has her own unique beauty. You need to have more confidence. As for the less than perfect parts, I can help you touch them up with makeup. Many of my clients have appearance anxiety. When the other person lacks confidence, I must never show any negative emotions. This is my professional dedication. The slit-mouthed woman froze for a moment, seemingly not expecting my reaction. She turned around and plopped down on a chair.
Whatever. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Go ahead and do my makeup. The key isn't how beautiful it is, but that it has to be scary. It has to be terrifying. The audience loves to see players scared out of their wits.
Actually, I don't think beauty and terror contradict each other. Scaring people through hideous makeup is the most basic way. A more advanced way is when you are clearly so beautiful, yet you make the other person feel a deep, chilling dread from the bottom of their heart. You look innocent, but in reality, you are a flower blooming in the dark of night. The fear of others is your nourishment. When the players are being toyed with and run around in circles by you, you clap your hands cheerfully with a manic smile on your face, and the slits at the corners of your mouth look as if they are about to devour them. This kind of contrasting sense of terror might be what the audience loves to see even more.
Are you really a player? Why do I feel like you're even creepier than me, a monster?
I used to do makeup on film sets, so I've done some character analysis. For those of us who do makeup and styling for actors, we must first understand the soul of the character to create the most suitable look.
It is a bit risky, but anyway, our instance is already ranked dead last. It can't get any worse than this. Let's do it your way.
I opened my makeup case and first applied pre-makeup moisturizer to the slit-mouthed woman. She must have been dead for quite a few years. Her skin was very dry. As soon as the toner and lotion were applied, it was like water melting into a desert, vanishing instantly without a trace. I couldn't help but advise her. As women, you still need to pay more attention to skincare. Look at some female ghosts who have been dead for over 40 years. They still look like young girls who just died 20 years ago.
It is not like the underworld here. Skincare and cosmetics are very scarce. Only the wealthy can afford them. Although the cosmetics in our horror games are paid for by the system, our instance has poor performance, so the approved budget is very small. This makes our styling terrible every time, and we can't attract any viewers. The bullet comments that often appear in horror games are actually sent by the spectating ghosts. Ghosts watching horror games is just like you living people watching variety shows.
Are there really that many ghosts watching horror games?
Of course, with the continuous improvement of living standards and productivity in the underworld, more and more ghosts are unwilling to reincarnate. The underworld is overpopulated, inflation is high, and reincarnation requires a lottery system. The lingering ghosts have to find some entertainment, and watching horror games is their absolute favorite.
So, in that case, the popular NPCs in horror games are basically like celebrities.
Exactly.
I mixed the prosthetic wax, carefully concealing the slits at the corners of her mouth. Once the foundation was applied, at first glance, she looked just like a normal person.
You actually covered it up. The previous makeup artists could never cover it.
This is special effects makeup from film sets. Not many people know how to do it.
Cover up the scars on my neck too, please. Thank you.
I did as she asked. Noticing her nose was a bit flat, I focused on contouring her nose bridge and added some highlighter. Her entire facial structure instantly became defined. Finally, I chose a peach pink lip gloss, dewy and lustrous. She looked exactly like an innocent, sweet girl, with such a contrast. When she splits her mouth open to smile creepily in front of the players, the impact will be much stronger.
I haven't looked this beautiful in so long.
Wearing her wedding dress with the makeup on, she looked like a red rose with thorns. The moment she appeared, the bullet comments erupted in amazement.
Am I seeing things? This is actually the Slit-Mouthed Woman?
Did their instance hire a new makeup artist? This styling is absolutely stunning. Although I love seeing players get scared out of their wits, watching pure gore all the time gets a bit tiring.
This new look for the Slit-Mouthed Woman is so refreshing. It feels like I'm finally consuming some high-quality content.
The slit-mouthed woman was very satisfied with the comments. She turned to me and granted me a privilege.
You don't have to participate in the game. Just stay in my room and watch the live stream. When the time is up, you'll automatically pass the level.
It was exactly what I wanted. In The Bride of the Demon King, she wasn't the only bride, but due to the absence of a makeup artist, the other brides had to do their own makeup. Their aesthetic seemed stuck in the past. Each of them wore heavy eyeshadow that looked like dark circles, as if they had been punched multiple times, lacking any villainous charm. Compared to the slit-mouthed woman's delicate makeup, which was both innocent and seductive, they looked disastrous.
With the slit-mouthed woman's styling, who wouldn't fall for it? If I were a player, I'd be fooled too.
The once deserted instances. Stream viewership began to climb rapidly. The slit-mouthed woman feigned weakness, playing the players like puppets. Under her misdirection, the players were either killed or severely injured. It was an absolute bloodbath. The Bride of the Demon King instance actually broke into the top 10 in viewership for the first time.
I declare the slit-mouthed woman my new favorite. I'm going to support her on Yinlang Weibo right now.
It is a pity the other bride's styling didn't keep up. Otherwise, this instance would be even better. Please let the slit-mouthed woman keep this look forever.
Seeing the praise in the comments, I couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. Back in the human world, I was just an obscure low-level makeup artist in a production crew, only allowed to work on minor marginal characters. They said my makeup style was too distinct, carrying an air of mystery and eeriness that wasn't suitable for heroic characters. I never expected that in a horror game, it would actually be so well received by everyone. This was the first time I had ever received so much recognition. As the game neared its end, the slit-mouthed woman returned.
By the way, what is your name? Wen Yao. Alright, Wen Yao. I've already applied to the big boss to hire you as our instance's permanent makeup artist. About that, a monthly base salary of 10,000 plus commission, 1,000 yuan per person, per session.
I swallowed back the refusal I was about to utter. Oh my goodness. As a bottom-tier makeup artist in the crew, I worked myself to the bone every month just to earn a measly 5,000 yuan. So what if this was a horror game? Ghosts are nowhere near as terrifying as being broke. I was absolutely going to make this money. But is the currency in your horror game the same as the one in the human world?
Don't worry. We go through the Bank of Heaven and Earth, which is also linked to UnionPay. You can transfer it directly to your UnionPay card.
That works then.
The instance opens once a week. The monsters will arrive a few hours before the players. That window is our makeup and styling time. This is a summoner. When it lights up, just bring your makeup kit and come in to work.
I looked down and put on the summoner. When I raised my head again, the surrounding scenery shifted. I found myself standing on a busy, bustling street. Everything that just happened felt like a dream. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was a call from Sister Shen.
Wen Yao, where on earth are you? Why aren't you here yet?
I picked up my makeup kit. I'm almost there. The traffic was terrible. I'm running now.
Do you even want this job? With your terrible skills, even if you did make up for a corpse, the corpse would reject it. I'm the only one soft-hearted enough to keep you. Anyone else would have fired you long ago.
This wasn't the first time she had put me down. Clearly, the actors I did makeup for all really liked the looks I designed, yet she insisted on constantly belittling me. Every day, I worked from dawn to dusk for low pay, catering to her every whim, while having to endure her endless verbal abuse. I was truly sick and tired of living like this. Go ahead and fire me then. I've wanted to quit for a long time anyway. Just because you don't appreciate my makeup skills doesn't mean others won't. Let me tell you, I've already found a new job. Before she could finish speaking, I abruptly hung up the phone. It felt so good to have confidence, and this confidence was actually given to me by a horror game that everyone else feared. To be a good makeup artist for the horror game, I spent the week studying diligently, exploring several makeup looks suitable for monsters. A week later, the summoner lit up as scheduled. I picked up my makeup kit and entered the instance. This time, a row of brides appeared before me. Aside from the slit-mouthed woman, there was the long-haired woman, the blood woman, and the ghost woman. They were all completely barefaced, sitting in a neat row, looking just like well-behaved elementary school students. This is
The makeup you did for me last time helped me gain a lot of fans. My colleagues really liked it too. Could you handle the makeup for all of them this time?
Receiving this recognition warmed my heart. It felt as if those sitting in front of me were not a row of monsters, but rather a row of performance bonuses. No problem. Leave it to me. I was full of energy. I opened my makeup case. The slit-mouthed woman requested to keep her look from last time. So, I only made some improvements to her hairstyle. I took her messy long hair and curled it into loose, glamorous waves, which better suited her innocent yet seductive vibe. Next up was the long-haired ghost. Her usual look was covering her face with her long hair and crawling gloomily through the shadows. Her long hair could strangle players, which was originally quite a selling point, but because there was a famous female ghost star in Japan who shared the exact same style, the audience had a preconceived notion of her and didn't find her particularly special. She had always been at the very bottom of the NPC popularity rankings. I analyzed it for her. If you want to boost your popularity, you have to differentiate yourself from her. She covers her face with her hair, so you should show your face. She has messy, loose hair, so you should style yours. Don't let the audience think you're just a copycat. Otherwise, it will really hurt your public image.
Then look at me. What kind of style do you think suits me?
I reached out and parted her long hair. Because she covered her face with her hair all year round, she had quite a few breakouts on her face.
I have acne on my face. It doesn't look good, does it?
What do you mean acne? It is very cute. These are youth bumps. It proves you are still young. Only young ghosts secrete ghost oils, and breakouts only happen when there is plenty of moisture and oil. For those dry, old ghosts who have been dead for ages, they couldn't get breakouts even if they wanted to. As soon as I said this, the long-haired ghost instantly beamed with joy. What female ghost doesn't like being complimented on her youth? I'll apply concealer for you first. For raised acne, you should choose a concealer that isn't too runny and has a thicker consistency. The shade should be slightly darker than your skin tone. I first used a small brush to apply the concealer to the surface, waited for a minute, and then used the tip of the bristles to gently blend the edges of the concealer, making the color melt into her skin tone. Before long, the long-haired ghost's face looked much smoother and clearer. Her style is very plain and simple. To differentiate yourself from her, it is best not to go for the innocent look, feeling her cascading long hair. If we go for an ancient noble lady style, we won't even need to use a wig. It is absolutely perfect. I styled the long-haired ghost's hair, gathering it together and winding it into an elegant high bun. Then, I applied her makeup with slender, delicate eyebrows. The touch of crimson on her lips shone like a sparkling gem. The entire look was gorgeous yet gentle, clean and exquisite. There was no longer any trace of her previous gloomy, crawling self. Take a look. Do you like it? The long-haired ghost stared at the mirror, looking a bit dazed. She stared blankly for quite a while before she finally snapped out of it. I love it. I love it so much. I used to think having such long hair was a burden. I never expected that putting it up could create such an elegant vibe. From now on, surely no ghost will ever equate you with her again. You are yourself, a ghost of a completely different color. The other brides who hadn't received their makeup yet watched with envious eyes.
Quick, 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 quick. I want my makeup done too.
Don't worry, there is plenty of time. One by one, I walked over to the vampire woman and noticed she didn't seem to have a completely bare face. You're already wearing lipstick. The color is so dark. What shade is this?
It is probably type A.
I froze for a moment. The vampire woman also realized what she had said.
I'm so sorry. I had a drink earlier and didn't wipe it clean.
When she smiled, her teeth were covered in bloodstains. If you want to be famous, wipe your mouth first. Actually, the vampire woman had great natural features. Her skin was as white as snow, and her figure was graceful. She had the best skin among all the monsters. As long as she could develop a good habit of wiping her mouth after eating, and stop always opening her bloody, gaping mouth, I believed she wouldn't be far from becoming a huge hit. I began to build a persona for her. I think you are more suited for an image that is noble and cold on the outside, but actually silly and cute on the inside, with a touch of innocent cruelty when you kill. This kind of multifaceted character is definitely something the audience will love to watch. The vampire woman processed this for a moment and couldn't help but feel touched.
Not only did you do my makeup and styling, but you also helped me find my acting direction. How can there be such a wonderful makeup artist like you?
Just like actors, makeup artists must find the soul of the character to bring out their greatest charm. I carefully applied makeup for the vampire woman and pulled up the movie Twilight on my phone so she could learn how to portray a charming vampire image.
When I was alive, vampires were still terrifying and hideous monsters. I didn't expect that nowadays they are all played by handsome men and beautiful women. It seems that from now on, I need to bypass the firewall more often to learn from the human internet.
After that, I customized makeup looks for several more brides, until only the last one was left. She appeared in a pale and ethereal form, her body looking as if it were draped in a white sheet, revealing only a pair of deep eyes. The ghost bride said timidly, "The previous makeup artist never did any styling for me. She said it was useless for me to wear makeup, since I can only show my eyes anyway. I wonder if you would be willing to do mine." She was the most easily overlooked presence among the many brides, especially when standing against a white wall. Her figure was almost invisible, but I told her very firmly, "Of course, even if you only show your eyes, you can still be absolutely stunning." Hope appeared in the ghost bride's eyes. "Really? Leave it to me." Since the rest of her was all white, her eyes were perfect for a bolder color palette. I took some eyeshadow. After using a light tea color as a base for her, I used a grapefruit color for the inner corners of her eyes, and a shimmery champagne color to define the outer corners. Finally, from my makeup case, I took out a small box of crushed gold leaf. I applied gel to her eye sockets and eyebrows, and pressed the gold leaf on in layered, scattered pieces. Most importantly, I used the gel to draw 2 tear tracks on her lower eyelids, and then applied the gold leaf over them. They looked like 2 lines of crystal tears, yet also like a dazzling galaxy of stars, both noble and mysterious. The ghost bride looked into the mirror. As she turned her head, the gold leaf shimmered with a sparkling light, incredibly moving, and her face hidden behind the white cloth was so mysterious, adding an extra layer of charming allure. "Thank you." The ghost bride's eyes filled with tears. "Such a brilliant makeup look, even if it is just the eye makeup. Makes me feel like I'm no longer just a monster. I still exist, and I can still shine in the eyes of others. To me, this is not just as simple as putting on makeup." Hearing this, my heart felt a bit tender, and I smiled. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside the room. The players had entered the game. At the same time, the live stream of the instance started. With the appearance of the NPCs, the bullet comments gradually began to boil over.
"I came to see the vampire girl. Her styling in the last episode was insanely good."
"She is here. My vampire baby is here."
The makeup is still as good as last time, but her hair was changed to big waves. What should I do? She is even more charming now.
Originally, the bullet comments didn't expect much from the other NPCs, but as the other brides made their appearances, the atmosphere was completely set ablaze.
Wait a minute. Who is this classical noble lady? What? It is actually her. This is the first time I've seen her show her face. She actually has such an elegant aura.
Am I seeing things? Her look this time is actually so badass. Without that face, I'd actually want her to drain me.
Guys, did you see her eyes? The gold foil makeup is so stunning. With eyes this beautiful, how did I completely fail to notice her before?
All kinds of bullet comments couldn't help but ask soul-searching questions.
What kind of divine makeup artist did this instance hire?
Are the other instances watching? From now on, compete according to the standard for makeup and styling.
Seeing the bullet comments from inside the room, I felt a great sense of accomplishment. Praise for the brides is recognition for me. The brides now wearing makeup even had a completely different aura. When she appeared, the players no longer ran around with scissors like before. Instead, they stared blankly, and by the time her waterfall like long hair attacked, there was already no way to escape. She hooked her arm around a player's neck, yet the player was completely intoxicated, even thinking the NPC had fallen in love with him. By the time he was drained dry, a happy smile was still hanging on his face. She was even more incredible. She only needed to gaze at the other person with those deep, sorrowful eyes, and the player would voluntarily offer up his body. Strangled by that misty white cloth, the bullet comments were completely dumbfounded.
Art. This is truly the art of killing.
This is so thrilling. Suddenly, those crude, violent ways of scaring people before seem so dull.
Never mind the players. Even I want to enter the instance and be violently strangled by the bride sisters.
In an instant, the popularity of this instance soared, actually ranking second among all instances.
In the past, this instance relied entirely on the big boss alone to support the viewership.
But now, the big boss became the only one holding everyone back.
The bride's styling is so stunning, yet the big boss actually showed up barefaced. Negative review.
The bullet comments surged, forcing the big boss who had just appeared to retreat back. I only bowed my head for a moment to pack up my makeup case, and I missed the big boss's scene. When the brides returned to the dressing room, I quickly took out a high-end toner and emulsion set and slipped it into the leader's hands. In life, one must understand how the world works. Even in death, social graces still matter. Since she introduced so many clients to me, I have to show my appreciation. Her skin is dry, so a hydrating and moisturizing set is the most practical gift.
This is way too valuable.
These skincare products might be scarce in your world, but it is very common in mine. I placed the set back into her hands. If you need any cosmetics in the future, just let me know. I'll bring them to you from my world.
Really?
Actually, we'd like to try wearing light makeup on regular days too, but we don't have the materials in our world. They all have to be brought over from your world, and the prices are extremely high. If you could do personal shopping for us, that would be amazing.
The term personal shopper was actually quite fitting. While others shop globally, I shop across realms. The brides wrote down the cosmetics they wanted me to buy and handed the list to me. Clutching it in my hand, I felt a heavy sense of hope and responsibility. Don't worry, sisters. Leave your glow-ups to me. After returning to reality from the dungeon, I made time to go to the duty-free shop. I didn't expect that right after I finished shopping, I would run into Shen Jie right here. She looked at me with a face full of ridicule.
Oh, didn't you say you found a new job? Why are you slacking off in broad daylight, wandering around here?
Aren't you doing the same?
I'm not like you. I'm here to purchase work supplies. I told you long ago, with your garbage skills, no one but me would ever take you in.
Unfortunately for you, my new job not only pays generously, but I'm also doing very well. Only after leaving you did I find the true value of makeup artistry. If doing makeup for the brides at the beginning was just to drum up business, then now, from the bottom of my heart, I have found a sense of achievement in this work. The brides regained their confidence because of my makeup, and I was nourished by their recognition. It is a mutual fulfillment. Shenji sneered, only then noticing the large pile of cosmetics in my hands.
Oh, buying so much? It seems you barely have any clients and have turned to personal shopping instead.
She actually guessed right, but I had no time to deal with her, because at this moment, the summoner on my wrist suddenly lit up. Why did the instance open so early this time? I turned around in a hurry to leave, but Shenji grabbed my arm.
What? Guilty conscience? I'll give you one more chance. As long as you come back to be my assistant.
Before she could finish her sentence, the world spun around us, and we were pulled into the instance together. Looking at the bizarrely shaped ghost NPCs in front of her, Shenji let out a shriek and fainted from fright. I'm so sorry. It happened so suddenly, and this person wouldn't let go of me, so I accidentally brought her in. As I distributed the purchased cosmetics to everyone, I asked, but there is still a day before the instance opens. Why did you call me now? The brides were all smiles, their eyes gleaming with excitement.
Wen Yao, this time, our big boss also wants you to do his makeup. Last time, the comments said he dragged down the instance. He felt very wronged. However, his situation is a bit special, so we needed you to come early.
My curiosity was piqued. How is it special? As soon as the words left my mouth, I felt the floor tremble. Turning my head, a giant 3 stories tall appeared before my eyes. This giant had 16 heads and 32 pairs of eyes. His body was bursting with muscles, filled with powerful strength. I swallowed hard, feeling terrified. So, do all 16 of these heads need makeup? What? Is that not okay? My mouth twitched. I can do it. But it will cost extra. For other ghosts, it is 1,000 yuan per head, with your 16 heads.
Money is not an issue. Our instance's viewership has surged recently, and our budget has risen accordingly. We are no longer the stingy little instance we used to be. We'll pay for 16 heads.
My eyes lit up. Calculating it this way, I could earn 16,000 yuan just by doing makeup for the big boss alone. As expected, whether in the real world or in the instance, popular stars are always very rich. But with only one day left to finish the big boss's 16 heads and also do the makeup for all the brides, the schedule was still extremely tight. I couldn't help but turn my gaze toward Shen Jie, who had fainted on the ground. She woke up in a daze, and seeing the 16-headed big boss in front of her, she was so scared she was about to faint again. I quickly stopped her with quick reflexes. Help me out as my assistant. That shouldn't be a problem, right? What kind of nobody do you think you are? To actually, before she could finish her sentence, she met the big boss's murderous gaze and instantly lost all her bravado, nodding and trembling.
Okay.
Shen the exploiter, who used to boss me around, under the intimidating pressure of the ghosts, obediently became my assistant. Her expression of utterly detesting me, but being unable to do anything about it, truly made me feel incredibly satisfied. I designed the makeup and styling for the big boss. His role in the instance was to abduct the brides. Although the big boss had a fair complexion, which made him look less terrifying, he did have 16 heads after all. Even without makeup, he was scary enough. So, previous makeup artists had only taken dark foundation and slapped a layer on him like painting a wall. Compared to the brides with their exquisite makeup and styling now, he obviously paled in comparison.
He is already scary enough. Why bother with makeup?
No, his monstrous charm hasn't been fully unleashed yet. As the saying goes, a single thought can make one a Buddha or a demon. The kind of demon that strikes the deepest terror into people's hearts is not a bearing its fangs, one-dimensional villain, but one with the face of a Buddha and the heart of Yama, seemingly devoid of emotions and desires. sitting high on a cloud altar, yet actually sleepless, restless, and insatiable. I pondered for a moment and decided to turn the 4 heads on the big boss's front into benevolent Buddhas. The 4 heads on the back would be turned into dark, cold Yamas. The heads in transition in the middle would be half good and half evil, each with a different expression. Just like that, a sense of depth was created, but there was still one problem. I looked up at the towering big boss. You're so tall. Do I need to set up scaffolding to do your makeup?
No need.
The big boss directly took his heads off and lined them up on the table in front of me. 16 heads sat side by side, blinking 32 eyes as they looked at me. 16 mouths spoke in unison.
Just do it like this.
Seeing that Shenjai was about to faint again, I caught her just in time and arranged for her to go to the back to style the hair for the big boss's heads. Without having to look directly at those 32 eyes, she finally felt a bit better and didn't dare to utter a word, silently styling the hair according to my instructions. The makeup part required meticulous detail, so I did it all myself. The brides gathered around to watch, marveling at the sight.
No wonder only Wen Yao can be our makeup artist. Her mental fortitude is top-notch. The previous makeup artists, even if they were professionals, didn't dare to get this close to the big boss.
I smiled and joined the conversation. Actually, it is not that I'm brave. I just believe equally that every head has the right to showcase its charm. When the big boss's final look was completed, everyone was stunned. He stepped forward on a black mist, yet threads of gold light swirled around his body, emitting a dense and eerie glow. It was like a holy Buddhist aura, yet also like the descent of an evil god. His expression was serene, and the faces on the front showed benevolence under the reflection of the golden light. But as his heads turned, his expressions gradually shifted, as if a Buddha were being corrupted by demonic energy, revealing a sharp and sinister charm. Even Shenjie, who had always put me down, showed a look of utter shock.
Wen Yao,
Shenjie supported her limp body and said to me earnestly,
following me before, indeed, I did suppress your talent. I am truly sorry.
I was stunned for a moment, but then I let it go. The wounds from her constant dismissal and suppression seemed to heal at that moment. Even this person, who used to look down on me the most, was now completely won over by me. I, who used to be ordered around in the real world, actually found my footing and thrived in this horror game. I realized that not only did the ghosts find their confidence through me, but through my interactions with them, I had also found the path that truly suited me. Nothing could be more fortunate than this. After finishing the makeup and styling for all the brides, the instance was launched once again, this time without a doubt. It soared straight to the #1 spot on the instance viewership charts. Clips of every single instance NPC were edited or remixed by fans and went viral across platforms like TikTok and Weibo. Their explosive popularity also thrust me, their makeup artist, into the spotlight. Countless instance bosses extended olive branches to me, offering high salaries to hire me for their own instances. I became the most sought-after makeup artist in the horror game. But after the instance became a massive hit, the NPC schedules became incredibly packed. Today it was a media interview, tomorrow a fan meet and greet, and there were even brand new instances, inviting the original cast to make an appearance. I was kept so busy that I simply had no energy left to take on side jobs in other instances. But even so, every new look I created would spark a wave of heated discussions across the underworld internet. Before long, I received an invitation from a major video platform. They were willing to spend a fortune to build me up as the #1 beauty influencer in the underworld. The NPCs were all very supportive of me, developing my own career.
Go for it. You can bring beauty to even more ghosts.
With the encouragement of the ghosts, my confidence boosted significantly. A week later, my very first beauty livestream launched on the video platform. As soon as the broadcast started, the stream was instantly flooded by ghosts who had heard of my reputation.
Is this the makeup artist from that hit instance? She's actually doing a live stream.
Wow, the host's own makeup is so exquisite. So exquisite, she looks like a living person.
Host, I've been dead for too long, and my skin is extremely dry. Can makeup still save it?
I see all your questions, my darlings. Please don't worry. Every single ghost can have a beautiful makeup look that suits them, no matter if you had fair skin or warm-toned skin when you were alive. Once you become a ghost, most of you will have a cool, pale undertone. This is actually the exact skin base that human girls want the most. So, our first lesson today is how to choose the right cosmetics based on your skin condition. As for concealer, I recommend choosing darker shades. After all, for us ghosts, the things we need to conceal the most are livor mortis and decay spots. I have carefully selected concealers that are perfect for ghosts. You can click the yellow shopping cart in the bottom right to purchase them directly. That is right. While live streaming, I was also selling products on the side. Since I was selling to the underworld, human merchants wouldn't approach me for sponsorships, so these were all pure, honest recommendations. The cosmetics bought in my live stream were of high quality and low price, much cheaper than buying them directly in the human world. Although Shenjie was unwilling to deal with ghosts, she was more than happy to help me source the products from the living world. Now our roles were reversed. She had become my assistant. The NPCs in the game had all become my friends, and they were very happy to help me understand the traits of different ghosts. This made my beauty livestream more and more popular, sweeping across the entire underworld.
The cosmetics recommended by the host are really great. A lot of ghosts on Little Black Book have used them and highly recommend them. I watch the host's live stream every day. I feel like I'm getting more beautiful by the day. I've become much more confident since becoming a ghost.
Every now and then, I also teach everyone some ready-to-use makeup looks, making it easy for the ghosts to follow along step by step. For us ghosts, our makeup needs are a bit different from those of living people. That kind of dewy, no makeup look is usually not very suitable. After all, once a ghost is dead, it is hard to keep the skin looking hydrated. We need to highlight our unique features and amplify the advantages of being a ghost. Whether it is boss babe, retro, sweet and cool, icy elegant, or vintage Hong Kong style, I'll teach you several different styles, so you can choose the one that suits you best. Of course, never forget skincare. Our ghost babies love to come out at night, but staying up late is the worst for your skin. You should still try to sleep early and wake up early. Under my influence, a beauty wave swept through the ghost world. The ghosts started focusing on self-care. Everyone joked. I never focused on wellness when I was alive, but I actually learned how to take care of myself after becoming a ghost. Furthermore, the styling and makeup in various game instances saw a significant improvement. The viewing experience skyrocketed. Surprisingly, once their makeup became more exquisite, the player's mortality rate actually started to drop. I was very curious as to why this was happening. A ghost told me.
Most of us who were chosen to enter these instances have a tragic and painful past. In the past, we vented all our pain and resentment onto the players. But now, your styling has made us confident. Many ghosts love us and compliment us. When our hearts are no longer painful and empty, we naturally spare the players' lives.
You made us realize that even though we've become ghosts, we still have the right to pursue beauty, and we can still live a confident and elegant afterlife. I'm no longer insecure and irritable just because I became a ghost. The current me feels very content and very happy.
Their words deeply moved me, softening my heart. I didn't expect that as a living person, I could actually bring about such a change in you all. The big boss of the instance patted my shoulder encouragingly, his 32 eyes filled with approval.
Wen Yao, what you have changed is not just the viewership of the instances, but our very lives as ghosts. You let us know that every ghost has their own charm, and we shouldn't give up on ourselves just because we died. Now the instance is filled with a vibrant, spring-like energy. The instances are no longer a terrifying slaughterhouse, but have become a stage for ghosts to showcase themselves.
Under your encouragement, every single ghost is working hard to find their own place. This is the change you've brought to the instances and to the entire ghost world.
With the sharp decline in the game's mortality rate, the instances became much less terrifying. This change also caught the attention of the official authorities of both worlds. After learning about the contributions I made, the official authorities of the human and ghost worlds jointly appointed me as the goodwill ambassador of the two worlds. From then on, the instances were not just entertainment shows, and no longer just entertainment programs for the ghost world, but served as a bridge of communication between humans and ghosts. And I firmly secured my position as the #1 beauty influencer in the ghost world. After learning from my beauty live streams, countless ghosts became more confident, cheerful, and charming. Most of the malevolent energy in the ghost world dissipated, showing a thriving and harmonious state. My daily beauty live stream became a daily must-watch program for most ghosts. Babies, even if we become ghosts, we still have the right to shine. I hope everyone watching this stream can find their own unique beauty. It is getting late, so that is all for today's live stream. See you tomorrow at the usual time. Be there or be square.